Throughout history, people have made amazing accomplishments that define themselves. Now, it's our turn to tell those accomplishments, to tell his story, her story, their story, and even your story. With Mike Wexler.
Welcome to Your Story with me, Mike Wexler. We are here live at the Wrestling Guys store for the meet and greet with my guest this time. This man is a former NWA television champion, but not only that, a WWE legend, and of course a wrestling legend. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one, the only Aron Stevens, a.k.a. Damien Sandow. How are you?
I love it. I wouldn't call me a legend. Legends are a bit older. I'm not a legend. And then I don't think my career would be a legend's career, but it was a fun career, so we'll say that.
Well, I mean, you have had legendary moments when it came to WrestleMania 31 and, of course, stuff in the NWA.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been cool. I've been glad that I've been able to kind of have, like, I call myself character fluid, to where, like, I've been able to morph organically, where, like, I was never one of those guys that had to be taken off TV and repackaged. I started as the intellectual savior, and I went to a stunt double, to someone who thought he was Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage. So it's been interesting. It's been a lot of fun, and again, like, kind of create these moments as opposed to, like the emphasis of my career, like with winning championships and stuff. Like, I would rather kind of like be impressed upon people's subconscious or conscious or whatever it is, and just kind of like affect their lives to have these like moments that kind of like they'll flash. Like with the autograph signing today, it was crazy because people were coming and telling me stuff that I had forgotten. And it was just really cool because I was reliving them too. So yeah, it was really cool to come out here.
And speaking about that, how was it like meeting the fans here over here in Huntington Park?
It was really cool. It was awesome actually because I don't do many of these at all. In fact, I did one on the East Coast earlier this year, and that was my first signing in about probably 4 years.
Okay.
And then so this one is my first West Coast signing since I can remember. I think the last time I did a signing here may have been with Miz. So this was just great to kind of get out and meet people and just have a lot of fun. So. And
speaking about that time with Miz, I mean, you've had obviously some successful gimmicks when it came to WWE. One of those I want to talk about is Mizdow. So where was that inspiration coming from when it came to the stunt double?
There was no inspiration. I was bored on Raw, and Miz fell down. I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. And I fell down too, and got called over by the boss. He said, keep doing that. Okay, and didn't talk to him for 9 months. And just that was a completely all Miz and I, and a little note about that, we would not necessarily have a game plan. And a lot of that stuff was out there. It was on the fly. It was just whatever happens, happens. So that was like kudos to Miz too, because that wouldn't have worked without him.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely went over. But another one that really went over is the Savior of the Masses, where we had the legendary robe and everything. So, like, was that your idea? Was that Creative's idea?
Yeah, that was like an FCW at the time. I was wearing like the pink and stuff, and Dusty had the idea for the Lou Thez robe. So that was Dusty, and and then this was, I think it was my debut that I first heard the term intellectual savior of the masses from Vince. So like 5 minutes before I went through the curtain, I knew that's what I was going to be. That's kind of how that worked. But, I had the character down, just put whatever name you want on.
Oh, yeah, and then the crowd obviously went behind that. I mean, obviously, I remember the Royal Rumble 2016 where you were in a tag team match with Darren Young, and just when your music hit and everybody just roared for that.
This was after Mizdow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I do. Wow, thank you. Again, see, I've relived another moment here. That was a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah, and then one thing I do want to mention, too, is that as the camera could see, he's very taller than me. I didn't actually expect.
People have said that too. Yeah, they expect me to be smaller. That's interesting. I just,
Yeah, have you gotten a lot of compliments on that of your height?
No, it's weird because when people meet me in person, they're like, "Wow, you're taller than I thought."
Well, yeah, because I'm standing like this.
I just didn't know if I guess I never watched myself on TV, so I don't know comparatively how tall I look. So yeah.
And one thing I did want to mention too is your NWA work.
Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to your Mongrovian days when you were a part of the.
Question mark Sensei. Yeah.
So what was it like working with the Sensei?
Amazing. We had so much fun. It was such just again organic. Like none of that was planned. I actually was out of the business completely, and I was working in Hawaii. I was actually filming an episode of Magnum PI.
Okay.
Playing actor, and everything was great. And it was Labor Day weekend, and I was I had like the way the union is, which there's no unions in wrestling, which I'm sure we all know, but in acting there is. So I had like 5 days off in Waikiki. So I'm like, all right, this is great. And just life was awesome. And then I got a call to go to NWA, and I went, nah. And they said, well, you already have a plane ticket. So like, okay. And I went reluctantly, kind of like. And when I saw the setup, I just remember I flew in the night before, and I saw the setup. I saw like I walked into Georgia Public Broadcasting, and I just went like, oh, okay. And from there I was just hooked. And then by the end of those tapings, those 3 days of tapings, I was with Josephus, of course, the question mark, right. And it was just like what we had was magic. What we had was very, very similar to what this had.
Well, it's awesome to see how your career has been progressing, whether that's through the wrestling side or the acting side of things. But my final question is that out of everything that you've done thus far and things that you're going to be doing in the future, are you proud of the story that is Aron Stevens?
Yeah, I think like my thing is it shows adaptability, and when given chicken droppings, I make chicken salad out of it, and sometimes I'll even make a cordon bleu if I have the right seasonings. That's no. I think like with me, before I was so hell bent on wanting my career to kind of follow the certain trajectory, and I just kind of hit a point where I let it all go, and the biggest tools in wrestling for any wrestler out there are your ears, because if you're not listening to the people, then you're a mark. Because there's a lot of marks out there in wrestling today, in my opinion. They do matches, and all they care about is doing a bunch of flips. Now, I love to watch the athletics. Like athletically, there's never been a better time in wrestling. The talent today blow any generation away, right? Or I say generation or any era away. Just the way it is. But why, when their music hits, do people not care? Like to me, the greatest thrill was standing behind the curtain and your music hits and they erupt.
Oh yeah.
And I think what happens, like we need to blend the two. We need to say like, okay, we can do these cool things, but at the end of the day, if you're putting a match together, it's about you and the guy you're with, getting your what in, you're a mark. It's about the people. Always listen to what the people have to say, and that's why I've been able to have the career I've had, and like we had such a great turnout today, which I'm flattered because, with NWA, like I've been there for about 2 years, but we've had the pandemic, and I've been off national TV for a few years now, and but to have the turnout today, I was actually really, really kind of humbled and blown away, so it was a good thing.
Well, thank you, Damien, for everything.
Appreciate it.
30 seconds, if you want to say anything to the people out there.
I think we've said everything we need to say, right? Just watch the podcast, watch NWA on Fight TV, and you're welcome.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.